Man dies constantly until the moment of his demise. Man acts as though he were the shaper and master of language, while in fact language remains the master of man. The relationship between man and space is none other than dwelling, strictly thought and spoken. Time is not a thing, thus nothing which is, and yet it remains constant in its passing away without being something temporal like the beings in time. We should never allow our fears or the expectations of others to set the frontiers of our destiny. Every man is born as many men and dies as a single one. If I take death into my life, acknowledge it, and face it squarely, I will free myself from the anxiety of death and the pettiness of life, and only then will I be free to become myself. Nothing is everything that doesn't happen at this very moment. Everyone is the other and no one is himself. We do not say being is, time is, but rather there is being and there is time. To think is to confine yourself to a single thought that one day stands still like a star in the world's sky. Philosophy will not be able to effect an immediate transformation of the present condition of the world. This is not only true of philosophy, but of all merely human thought and endeavor. Man acts as though he were the shaper and master of language, while in fact language remains the master of man. Being alone is a deficient mode of being, with its possibility is a proof of the latter. We would like only, for once, to get to where we are already. When we say something about something, we make it lie there before us, which means at the same time to make it appear. We never come to thoughts, they come to us. As soon as we are born, we are old enough to die. A boundary is not that at which something stops, but that from which something begins. A person is neither a thing nor a process, but an opening through which the absolute can manifest. We make a space inside ourselves so that being can speak. The most thought-provoking thing in our thought-provoking time is that we are still not thinking. Thinking begins only when we have come to know that reason, glorified for centuries, is the stiff-necked adversary of thought. We name time when we say everything has its time. This means everything which actually is. Every being comes and goes at the right time and remains for a time during the time allotted to it. Everything has its time. We should live totally in the face of the night and of the evil. The world, in resting upon the earth, strives to surmount it. As self-opening, it cannot endure anything closed. The earth, however, as sheltering and concealing, tends always to draw the world into itself and keep it there. I know that everything essential and great originated from the fact that the human being had a homeland and was rooted in tradition. Dwelling is not primarily inhabiting but taking care of and creating that space within which something comes into its own and flourishes. Making itself intelligible is suicide for philosophy. Language is the house of being. In its home man dwells. Those who think and those who create with words are the guardians of this home. Only if we are capable of dwelling, only then can we build. How one encounters reality is a choice. Tell me how you read and I'll tell you who you are. Why are there beings at all, instead of nothing? Being and time determine each other reciprocally, but in such a manner that neither can the former, being, be addressed as something temporal, nor can the latter, time, be addressed as a being. So long as we represent technology as an instrument, we remain held fast in the will to master it. The possible ranks higher than the actual.